Today's May 11th. So these have been sitting here for about 3 months, plus or minus. I'm gonna have to look at the exact date. And as you can see, we've got varying degrees of success here. This one was first out of the gate. This one was second, and it's actually bigger than the first one. This one never did anything, and this one was actually big like the other ones, and then it died off, you can see here, and then new stuff started growing. And then this one has been on and off. It just starts and stops, and it doesn't actually seem to want to take off. So today I'm going to plant these in different containers and bigger containers, and I'm going to put them out. They've been in partial sun for this whole time, but I'm going to go ahead and put them out in full sun starting today. So I'm also going to go look at the acorns that I put in the freezer. We're going to see what happened with those. Okay, so I got my oaks here. The date that I planted these was actually February 23rd. So it's about 3 months, March, April, a little less than 3 months. Now these, I've checked them a couple of times. I already know the result here. Nothing happened with them. So what I tried to do with these, because here's the thing, red oaks you're supposed to plant in the spring, and white oaks you're supposed to plant in the fall, if I have that correct. These I believe are a pin oak, which is a red oak. And so what I did was I planted half of these, I put them in a wet cloth in October. And the other half I froze because I wanted to see if that would have some effect. These ended up sprouting roots that made, this possible. These I tried to, after I thawed them out, put them in the wet cloth to simulate winter and see if that would do it. It didn't. So I was probably better off just putting these in a wet cloth or just leaving them out. So now I'm going to transplant these other ones and put them out in the sun. Now here's the thing, again with oaks, they have this thing, I think it's called air pruning. So this would technically be air pruned on the bottom, but on the sides you would have little slots that prevent the pruning the roots from going in a circle and creating problems. I'm going to try to simulate that on here. I'm going to cut some spots out just with a razor blade, and we're going to go ahead and transplant these and see if they'll air prune and grow in here, because eventually I'd like to put them out in the yard, but I'm not sure where I want to put them, and I'm putting up a fence and blah blah blah. So anyway, that's what we're doing. I'm going to transplant these. Okay, so I finished putting some slots in the side here, hoping that will work for the air pruning, and on the bottom you have holes which will work. If you've looked at these when they have them, they're usually maybe the same, little thinner around, and they're twice as tall, which allows the roots to go deep. Maybe at some point I'm going to go ahead and order those, but for now I'm just going to go ahead and use these. I've prepped my soil already. I've been finding out with that particular soil, you have to, get it soaked, probably with all soil. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to plant. I'll start with one that. Okay. So you can already see on this one, you can already see the root is starting to spin around down there. See that? That's not something that we want. So we're going to go ahead and get this all set up. I'm going to put some soil in here. Get it to the height that I want it to be. Then we'll put this in there. All right, and then we'll fill it in the rest of the way. And there you go. So it's just a real quick transplant. I'm going to go ahead and leave the acorn part up because that's how it was in there. And I'm going to do the rest of these. I don't know that this is going to matter, but that one, it'll straighten out as the sun sees it. So I'm going to go ahead and do the rest and show you what's happening from then. Okay, so they've all been transplanted in our sort of makeshift air pruning system. We're going to go ahead and put these outside, and I'm going to put them in something that allows the water to stay in so it doesn't all just weep out. And we will check back in on this in, I don't know, month or two. We'll see how well they're growing. And I'm going to be doing some homemade fertilizer here, which I'm going to try on this and see how well it works. But anyway, that's it. These are the acorns. October to February in the wet rag, February to May in the dirt, and then we're going to see what happens from May forward.
Now these right here coming up, these are the acacias that I planted the seed pods. One of these pods seems to be doing okay. The other, a little bit slower. There's one compared to probably, you know, 7 or 8 over here. And then these were the ones I planted last year. And there's really only a couple coming up here, but that's fine. Those will be fine. And then these over here are mesquites that I grew last year. You saw those videos. They live through the winter, so I'm going to have those out here. As soon as these get a little bit bigger, I'm going to go ahead and transplant all of these into pots. I'm not going to put them in the yard yet. They get abused by the jackrabbits and stuff like that. So we're going to see what happens with these, and I'm going to grow these in pots for probably a whole season and then put them in next year. And I'm going to just keep growing mesquites and planting mesquites and these acacias all over the property. And then this here is horseradish. If you like horseradish like I do, it's nice to grow it. I'm getting it growing in this pot. This was an experiment, and I will show you how to grow those if you're into horseradish.